Good morning, students. Welcome back to the lesson The Adventures of Toto. We already have two sessions. Today is the final session. Okay. So let us make a recap of what we have already discussed. So the story begins with the grandfather buying a monkey from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees, and we have come across the physical appearance of the monkey, and the monkey's presence was not disclosed to grandmother because grandmother did not like new animals in the zoo. And the first mischief done by the monkey, that is removing the ornamental papers and wrenching the peg from the socket and tearing the school blazer into pieces. Actually, grandfather was happy to see all these things, saying the monkey is very mischievous. And one day he decided to shift monkey to the servant quarters. There the monkey did not allow other animals to sleep. Because of this reason, grandfather decided to take Toto in a canvas bag when he was going to collect his pension from Saharanpur. And he made an exhibition at the Dehradun railway station by jumping from inside the bag. And the ticket collector also categorized the monkey as a dog and charged 3 rupees as a penalty. But the angry grandfather took the tortoise from his pocket and asked the ticket collector whether he should pay anything for this, because that was also four-legged like quadruped. But the ticket collector said no charge since it was not a dog. Later, this Toto was shifted to the stable where the family Nana was comfortably staying. But again the monkey made a mischief by biting the ears of Nana, and Nana was punished for that. Later we have come to know that the monkey had a style of taking bath that he learned from the author Ruskin Bond. The monkey would test the temperature of water by dipping the finger. Later he would jump into that bath, and he would take a bath by applying soap on his body, and if anybody laughed at him, he would stop the performance. One day he was almost succeeded in boiling himself from alive. So children, here we have to start for the day, and we are at page number 10 and paragraph number 2. Okay, yes, let us start. A large kitchen kettle had been kept on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in, with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a while until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time until grandmother arrived and hauled him half boiled out of the kettle. So children, this is another adventure or the risky activity that the monkey performed. One day he saw a kettle was kept on the stove for preparing tea, and he thought it was water meant for him to take a bath, and he had no other work to do. So he decided to remove the lid and got into the pot or kettle, and he could find that the water is not that hot. So when it was hot, he came out again. He felt outside it was cool. Again he began to sit. Like that he was hopping up. What do you mean by hopping up? The word meaning hopping up, jumping up. Okay, hopping up and down until grandmother arrived and hauled him. What is hold? Pulled him out. Hold him means pulled. Hauled him out from the kettle. By then he was half boiled out of the kettle. Had the grandmother not reached the site, he would have been killed. Okay, So children, that was one of the adventures performed by monkey. So all of you remember what is the adventure here? Getting into the kettle, and the water was meant for preparing tea. The monkey thought it might be water meant for him to take a bath, but finally grandmother reached the kitchen and hauled him out and saved him. And with this activity, Ruskin Bond said, if there is a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. So children, this is another mischief from the side of the monkey, that is tearing the dress of people, especially when that aunts came home, he tried to make a hole on her dress. Okay, what do you mean tear? Tearing, making. You can tear a cloth, you can tear a paper. Okay, so and one more doubt that is highlighted here is, if there is a part especially meant for mischief, that part is largely developed in the case of monkey. Okay, now we are the last part of the story now. One day, this is another incident that we are going to highlight. One day at lunch time, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arms. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. So children, what is the incident here? The monkey was eating the pulao which was meant for them for lunch, and on seeing the monkey stuffing, what do you mean by stuffing? Filling his stomach, eating. Okay, we can say eating with greed, that is stuffing himself with rice. What did grandmother do? She screamed. So when she screamed means shouted. Okay, when she screamed, Toto got angry and threw the plate at her. He took a plate and threw on the face of grandmother, and by the time author's aunt, one of the aunts came there, and she received a glass of water on her face. When grandfather arrived finally, Toto immediately lifted the pulao and made his exit. What is exit? Way out. Entrance and exit. Okay, so he made an exit, means going out. You may have seen this word in cinema talkies. Entrance and exit. Generally it is written in red color in the talkies, so that people can see it from distance. Okay, so like that, this monkey made an exit through the window and then climbed on a jackfruit tree. You know what jackfruit tree is? Okay, and dish still in his hands, and he remained there all the afternoon, eating every bit of the grain. And finally, in order to take revenge on grandmother, who screamed at him, he threw the plate from the top of the tree and chattered, means made the noise. You know how a monkey chats, or chattering sound of monkey, you know. Okay, then he chattered with delight. What delight? Happiness, and broke the dish into 100 pieces. Okay, now obviously Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long. Even grandfather realized that we were not well to do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains and wallpaper. So grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. So last paragraph tells us about how the monkey was returned back to the Tonga driver, or why he was returned, or why he was sold back. Obviously, very clearly, word meaning is here, obviously, very clearly, Toto was not a sort of pet that grandfather could keep at home. Why? Because who realized it finally? Even grandfather realized means understood. Realized, understood by grandfather, because they were not well to do. Well to do means very rich family. Not well to do means not rich. Okay, and could not even afford the frequent loss like dishes it is breaking into pieces, clothes the monkey is tearing into pieces, curtain the monkey tear into pieces, wallpaper that the monkey destroyed. So finally grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold the monkey back to him. What, how much he got? 3 rupees. And what is the loss? 2 rupees. Why? Because he bought the monkey at the rate of 5 rupees. Now he sold it back at 3 rupees. So dear children, let us make a recap of what we have already learned for the day. Today we learned that the monkey made a mischief by entering into the tea kettle, and he was almost boiled, half boiled. By then the grandmother came and hauled him out. Okay, and the author thought that the monkey had much mischief, and if there is a special area meant for mischief, that part of the brain has been developed much in the case of Toto. And whenever whenever one of the author's aunt visits him, the monkey would try to make a hole in her dress. Okay, the last incident of mischief is eating pulav, which was meant for lunch, and when grandmother screamed, he threw a plate on her. When the aunt rushed forward, she received a glass of water. When grandfather approached, he escaped from the kitchen with the pulav in his hands and climbed on jackfruit. And to take revenge on grandmother, he threw the plate from the treetop and broke the dish into 100 pieces. Then finally grandfather decided to sell him back, because he realized, he understood that he could not be kept as a pet for long. Okay children, all of you make a thorough reading and also write down the question answers in your notebook, and already the link is given. From the beginning itself, I have attached the link, NCERT solutions. You can go through it, and first 2 pages of your notebook should be with vocabulary, and write down all the important questions and answers. That is the end of the lesson, and I'll be uploading a cartoon presentation of this story soon. Have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.